Hello. Hello. So, OBS decided to update itself, hence the delay. Hey, listen. So, here I am. Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. Hey, Kilrathi, Bruno Romano Squinted! Yeah. Man, I'm so excited. Hey, Captain Paus, Zealin, Isra, Kriya. And the Concept Sam. Sam I am. I'm all good, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll as a monster, practice the monster technique. So, give me some creature, animal, and I'll try to extract the trait from it. And we'll do it. I'll do it. Or a beetle. Alright. Gorilla. Frog. Beetle, gorilla, frog. Oh. I see. +1? Frog. Fishbird. Human fishbird. Oh, goddamn it, you guys are... I'm gonna make a monster. I guess a human monster could be. Fish, hyena. Okay, we got enough. Okay, let's roll the dice. Brrr, number 5. Oh no, which one is number 5? 1, 2, 3. I'm not counting bosses, bosses because it's also frog. 1, 2, 3, or am I? 4. No, hyena. Whew. Okay. Hyena. Monster by Zealin. 64 bits. No, you can't say the same thing. It doesn't count. Doesn't count for 2. Doesn't count for 2. And besides, if it would count as 2, it would be human hybrid fishbird. And liar, pants of fire. Alright, so hyena is like a bloody mess. They hunt sneakily. They are... Let's do kind of werewolf-ish. Let's up our warm-up game. Let's try this. I haven't tried this before, so I don't know how it's gonna turn out. But let's experiment. Ooh, experiment is never good, right? It is good. It's good for you. It's nice. Okay, so what I'm gonna try is do the warm-up with warm color, have the gray meet in the middle, and then cool shadows, and then try to marry the two. Right, it's not gonna be easy, but let's experiment. Let's get colors down fast. Zealin, yeah, they're freaky actually. They are like you said, they're smart. and the females are the like the dominant ones. Didn't is my yellow is kind of cool, yeah, for sure. Um, correct me. I think I'm right in this, but something like in the lines of with the hyenas, the females have like a fake penis, and they mount the males. Something like that, or is it just my brain going crazy? Captain Bose, yeah. Go ahead and try. It's tricky. I thought I'd try it today. Yeah, so like the the female hyenas, they are like more muscle tone, larger, and then they mount the men. Captain Bose, yeah. Yeah, but I was just gonna say because I mean, it's not like that's the daily topic. It's hyenas. That's what the hyenas do. You know? This two color one is interesting. I have yet to switch away from the two colors I set in the beginning. I haven't started sampling. Oh, I could erase with the gray. Ah, let's try that. Let's erase places where they merge too much, and I erase back to the gray. Let's see what that does with the hue shifts. And obviously, at some point, I gotta switch over to. Hmm. So the idea I have here is like the hyena's legs are small, right? Because the hyenas have these weird proportions. in Soviet in Soviet hyena. Yeah, I love that meme, by the way. It's hilarious. It's like anything goes, just long as it's flipped. But obviously, the original is in Soviet Russia. Not a lot of people use it anymore, though. I guess it's out of date. Creating backgrounds for the characters. Yeah, it's for me. It's a matter of. Oh, 1 second. Hyena. They have large ears, don't they? Like German Shepherd ears, but +1 in size. And I'm seeing them folded back a bit. Anyways, back to the question about backgrounds. For me, like what's important with a background, if you're doing a concept, is that the background it smells like burnt something, not burnt plastic, but burnt food. I live close to a chocolate fabric, kind of. Hey, Chilstrand. I'll talk about the ADHD answer today. God damn it. So, background. the the what I how I approach backgrounds is I think the background should support the concept, but you gotta remember, and we're just gonna make a monster. I'm not gonna try to make a hyena. You know, the idea is to extract the. So I'm just gonna have it, I think, bloody. Anyways, because you're not doing an illustration, the background can't be fully a part of the scene. You know, you have to be really careful of to what extent is the background incorporated into the image and the character. You know, because if it's production art, in theory, you don't even need a background. But if it's like if it's like a concept that informs a direction, you know, like sometimes you do concept art to find a direction, right? Maybe the team doesn't know what they're looking for, and they're looking for mood, flavor, whatever. So sometimes when you don't add a background to those, and it becomes very clinical, like here's the design, boop. Versus, I mean, like this hyena, right? This hyena would, if this was all that I delivered when I render up without a background, it would inform about the creature. But if I would give a background like to this one, where you know the creature sits in more in shadow, or there's like a bloom in the atmosphere, or it hints of machinery in the background, or scratchy metal background, or it adds one more layer to it. So you got to think a little bit, if you're going to add a background, to what extent do you need the background to be there? If it's just a backdrop, it, you know, you could remove it or use it. It won't have any real impact to it. But if it's like, if it enhances the delivery or the presentation of the idea, you know, you have to consider what the reason is to add it, and to what extent should you put it in. I mean, for let me open Twitch. Bjorn Hurri. Like for this client, the background was just added like when you're in a photo studio. You know, when you're taking your portrait in a professional studio or whatever. It's just like a backdrop that helps focus on important aspects for presentation. Because it was all about the character. Because they're going to be made into 3D, right? So the backdrop is just there to enhance the mood, like enhance the feeling of spatial placement, and like if I need smoke, the smoke won't look weird on a flat background. You know, I could have the scope of adding some smoke or some lighting and help the composition and in how we are reading the character, because it's also about selling the idea. You know, like this guy. Like if it was a white background, it would be really hard to push that the beat is glowing, right? And same with this thing. It would be hard to sell the idea if it would just be a flat background. Then there's other things that, like, you need the backdrop, and this is obviously an illustration, and this you can't say it's just a backdrop because it's an illustration of the character. Same for these. Right, this is also just flat backdrop, but it helps to present the character. But for this guy, it's a lot more advanced background, but the background is still um, it's enhancing the character, but it's more for mood and understanding where he is, why he's there, and the backdrop indicates a lot more than just a mood enhancer for whatever effects I need to have like designed. So this is more like this is his place, right? Um, yeah. So there's many layers to think about. Like, what's the reason for a backdrop? Some artists use the backdrop as a pure compositional tool. Like they maybe just have a strong shape, and that's like purely designed to push you into the picture, to make you stop at a specific shape or a specific design where they want you to look. And here, there's like in this version, there is no force. It doesn't force your hand to look anywhere. Like now, it's all about the subtleties of the design, subtleties of the delivery of the character. Right? It's less graphical and more business. For a 3D artist. But if it would be like if you want to showcase, oh, here's the latest monster for our game, you need to add some pizzazz to it, some flair, some cool background that helps sell the illusion of what it's used for. Well, the thing is like deciding what kind of backdrop you should put in can also be based on what you're doing. You could change backdrop per character for the same game. Because in the big picture is arbitrary what background is, unless it's like marketing art where everything is so important, because it's gonna have to communicate everything. It goes back to the idea, like I've always thought about this, and it's something I've always aware of. Which is an interesting point. Like, we are all artists. We are all within this industry, right? We are like grinding the knowledge. Any news within the industry is like, if you don't know it within a day, it's you've been sleeping. Hey there, Bjorn, how's it going? But ask random Joe on the street, they will go like, concept what? you have to explain what concept art is, and the process what concept art does, and the reason why people need it in the industry, and all they don't know. So the same comes to someone who is not within the realm of what it's used for. If it's going to be for average Joe, your painting, you have to really consider holding the hand for the observer, saying, listen, listen, guy. Like, this is a werewolf, right? He's scary. And then you need to present it in a way where there's no doubt of what the purpose is for, right? Is it bloody? Does it have a backdrop? Is there smoke in the painting? What's the delivery of the concept? For someone who's like an old jaded veteran like me, showing this concept, like, oh yeah, that's straight as 3D. I know everything. I don't need a backdrop. I get it. Yeah, this would look good in the world that we're designing. But for average Joe, average Jane, looking at it, they wouldn't understand, right? So it's a question of what's the purpose of the presentation of what you're doing. Is it a design to show designers, or is it a design to show for a public, for average Joe? And then it needs more layers to it. Hey, Bintron, welcome back. Whoa, welcome back. York. Gang signs. So that's like something you got to think about. The fact that people don't care as much as you do, on average, unless it's someone who's in the within the industry. Like let's say like my pleasure, Captain Boss. Doc Hurri. Uh, let's say like there's someone picking who's gonna be on the top banner. This is I don't know this facts, but let's play with the idea, right? That someone picking something for top banner at the art station, like to be at the showcased. Majority, 99%, what I would say, what's on the top banner, like, oh, check this badass painting out, is never hardcore production art. It's always snazzy presentation. Always. Because it's geared for maximum effect impact, right? Chillstone, absolutely. So it's really important. And sometimes we've had this experience at work where it has happened recently, where you do a design and you present it in pure production style, you know, like boring, but design is there, right? For a veteran, geared towards a production orientated veteran artist or lead position person that can go, yeah, that's a cool design, finish it with pizzazz, you know. And we experienced that this new client we never experienced worked with, that person most likely wasn't an artist, even though they were the liaison person with the artists. And it appeared that we just needed to add pizzazz from the get-go, you know, like just impact, pure impact. Don't care about design more than make something cool, presented really well. That was the direction that we had to go more than you know, Puritan production stuff. Sometimes those clients, you just need to know, okay, client X needs this kind of treatment. Less cooperation with the client. Usually what that involves is just you just do shotgun approach, just blast it, whatever. They'll be happy. They don't want to fiddle with details, design options, step-by-step inclusion. They just give me the finished stuff, make it look cool, and I'm happy. You know? And that's the tricky part. And that's the good example of what most people look at. They don't care about the fiddly stuff. They just give me a nice experience, you know. Face blast. Boring but efficient, yeah. I try not to go tits and ass route. I don't subscribe to the idea that you really need to sell it. You know, unless it's vital to the character. You know, like if you design a sexy vixen or someone who's like clearly over sexualized, male, female, doesn't matter. You need to use certain things, you know, because humans are geared in a certain way. But just to make something sell, you do tits and ass. I don't use that shortcut. You know, like unless it's vital, like I said, to the character. I mean, I have designed people with tits and ass in my career, but that has been like literally vixens that need to be alluring. But I have also like, for example, for a game where they need to be a boss woman for a realistic game, and I didn't want to, slap tits and ass on a boss woman, but she was like a little bit older, like middle age up. So obviously, let's say 40 something, 50 something people, they don't tend to do tits and ass, like in your face like a 20-year-old does. So it was really good fun to design something classy and no boob windows, no, just kind of like nice legs, good good body, uh, beautiful face, but sexy. So that because you had to stay within the limitations of it, realism, and you couldn't go like tits ass, So that was really good fun to design, like actually design low key sexy woman without going cheap, like cheap, not cheap as in like cheap person, cheap as in cheap shortcuts to make it a vixen. It's a good challenge. It was really enjoyable, and in the end, it looked kind of cool. That's the like what I talk about before is that, like the idea of if you're gonna have something with very few pieces, those pieces needs to be really really solid. Like a simple design is not easy to do really well. A simple design takes a lot of skill to get it just right. And you can make something simple easy, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Kirill, yeah, yeah. A lot of it is just tits and ass, tits and ass and shiny material. Minimal amount of shiny material, then the rest is just tits and ass and extremely youthful face. Even for old people, doesn't matter. Just everyone just looks the same. Cookie cutter. Or if they're not like very youthful and tits and ass, they're like old witch, old hag, and sometimes a really big sword. Yeah, and they're flying. For some reason, they're all flying. Hey, Motherfin, what up, yo? Israel, yeah. Jacob Mobley. Yeah. Well, the thing with that, Jacob, is that you gotta hit, like what I talked about, like the average Joe Jane type person stuff as well. And by that, I don't mean you should like do something ridiculously mainstream. It's a lot of it is down to like how you choose to present the art, how you choose to, um, showcase some art. You also like as a working artist, you can't be super unique in what you do because who cares about the super unique stuff? The challenge is always if you're not a fine artist, then it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be a artist for production, the company that wants to hire you has to be able to use you for something, unless they do one product that is perfect for you, and and that's why they can use you for the product. But if it's not your very niche style, then they can't use you for much, you know. So the trick is like to in your portfolio to have stuff that's mainstream but done in a way that you enjoy making it, right? So for me, like the monsters and stuff I did for, let's say, the for village attacks, right? Like this is the Banshee, this is Baba Yaga, and this is a mage. But it's done in a way that I like it. Done in a way, this is the boogeyman. You know, it's my interpretation of something that's mainstream, right? And then they can go, oh yeah, it's mainstream stuff. Like it sells. I get it, but it's done with my flavor to it. So if you're very strange niche stuff, that's harder to slot in somewhere else. Jacob Mobley, yeah, I saw. It's good. It's good. You know, there's always uh, there's always people having different opinions, um, and everyone thinks their own way as well. So it's important also to remember that even in our little niche bubble, it doesn't matter the big picture. Like it's important to just make something that's attractive uh, in a way where as many people can appreciate it as possible without you selling out on your thoughts and your principles of what you want to do. Uh, if you want to do tits and ass all day, do tits and ass all day. There's people who appreciate it, uh, but if you do tits and ass just to get traffic and using it as a tool of traffic, you got to really consider why you're doing it and the impact on society and so on. You know, if you don't need to do it, if you don't like love doing it, then and you do it only for you know, for horny 14-year-olds. I have an issue with I would have an issue with it. You know, my morals. But then again, who cares what I think? The problem is when there's a lot of people doing it and the whole like objectifying women stuff. But men are also objectified. No, but no one talks about it. But the problem is when it's just becomes a shortcut. You know, when there's no thinking involved. Exactly, Crystalleros. You as a product, as an artist, you have to understand what you're, uh, you know, selling. Oh, time's up. Let's add one more tone to it, and then rant's over, I guess. Yeah. There are lots of things to think about. And there's not one true way either, which is great. You should try, for example, Jacob, to design something. Let's say you never designed tits and ass, design something tits and ass, but not the cheap way, and see how you can do it in your way. It's an interesting challenge to get away with tits and ass without, selling yourself out, by still designing something that's valid within the realm of tits and ass. That's funny, Captain Jetlag. Yeah, yeah. That's also kind of indicates your own flavor of what's uh, tits and ass. Tits and ass is just very obvious, like vulgar aspect, but it could also mean what's sexy, or attractive, or what gets you off, which is interesting. I'm part of an art book that we're gonna start pushing soon, which is called Hardcover, which is a book about art that we artists don't post because it's erotic, like sexual art. So it's gonna be a book with, I think, 100 artists paintings that they don't ever post online, because it would never fly with a market, which is cool. So that's a book in the making, but more info on that later. Not tits and ass book, sexual book, erotic, but not tits and ass erotic. Like erotic, grown up stuff. It's gonna be marketed more soon. It's already announced, kind of, but very low key. So more on that later. I'm gonna be a part of it, so I'm gonna push it as well. Yeah, serious stuff. But what gets you off as an artist? Not mainstream stuff or like whatever flavor. Yeah, it's an 18 plus book, grown up stuff. Yeah, and not work that's geared towards 14-year-old boys. Tits and ass. So let's see. What's he doing? Doing that car. What are you doing? That guy. You're playing Christopher Kant. What are you doing? Those horses? Ah. Alright, let's raid Christopher Kant. Yeah, lots of tits and ass today. How do you spell his name? Is it H? Two H's. Zix Nano, unfortunately I gotta go get back to work. Gotta get those contracts done. Gotta get those contracts, son, done. Done, son, done. Blah. Don't leave. Yeah, I gotta go, man. Gotta go. Let's raid Christopher Kant. It looks pretty cool. Tomorrow, Friday, I think I'm just gonna paint a monster for fun on Friday. Hopefully I rant about something cool. I'm glad that you liked the topic. Have a great day, good night. See you tomorrow, bad boys and girls.